why not? Welcome to Get Offset, my beautiful friends. My name is Emily. I'm really proud of you for showing up today. That's often kind of hard to do. Been a little hard for me lately, but I'm trying my best to be here. And I'm really happy to be here because I have the Alexander Space Force Reverb pedal. It has 8 different reverb algorithms, and they're all pretty cool and unique. It also has presets, and that's what I'm going to start with today because these algorithms, they have a lot going on, a lot of parameters to change, and thankfully it shipped with a preset dedicated to each algorithm that already sounds really good, so then we can sculpt what we want based on that. I love it when brands do that. So let's go ahead and dig in, shall we? Our first algorithm today is the plate. It's based on Studio Plate Reverb. It also has a virtual tape pre-delay and adjustable tape flanging modulation. If you want it, they got it. So it's already on, and you can see tight plate it's really tight. It's a tight reverb. It's not super loud or overwhelming. But it sounds really nice. We can adjust things by turning them. I recommend tapping on this lower right-hand knob so you can see everything that's going on. So we see the mix was really low, the size was in the middle, and damp, which is the reverb high IQ, was kind of in the middle as well. So if we adjust all those things, we get a bigger sounding plate reverb. To go to the next page, we just tap that again. We see rate and depth as well as waveform. And unfortunately, these do disappear a little bit quicker than I would like. Let's change the wave to a sine, maybe turn the depth up a little bit, and maybe the pre-delay up some too. You can really hear the modulation. You can also adjust the rate by tapping. So there are actually a lot of waveforms that you can go through, and just a quick FYI, a lot of these algorithms have some sort of modulation option. I'm going to turn the depth of that down as well as the rate. I don't feel like I want that flanging modulation, but it's there if you do. I forgot to mention I'm using the Benson Chimera plugin from Mixwave, and I'm playing this random guitar that I got this guitar at a guitar show. I paid 25 bucks for the body. They're Lambertone pickups. So it's just a really lovely sounding plate reverb. It's definitely more along the standard offering that this pedal has. This pedal has some really out there reverbs. This is one of the more normal ones. To get to the next preset, we hold down for a moment on that bypass foot switch. This next one is based on the Modulated Hall, classic 1980s electronic hall reverb with adjustable pitch modulation. There's also high and low EQ to fine-tune things. EQing your reverb, really underrated. So we can adjust some of these things just by touching the knob. I just tapped on it the first time so you could see, but the first page is pretty much, this is knob here, this lower left, that's almost always going to be the mix. So let's keep that turned up. So some of these modes have one parameter at least that you can hold. In the case of this one, it's size. I'm going to go ahead and just manually crank the size. So a lot of modulation on this one as well. We go to the second page, we turn down the depth, maybe turn the rate up. And one cool thing about this pedal is that whatever page you were last on, that's what the controls are going to be. It doesn't automatically go back to page 1. That would kind of be a nightmare. This one also lets you pick the waveform, and there are a lot of them. Triangle's a little bit more subtle. In case you haven't noticed, it will always tell you what program you're on underneath the preset name. Next, we are going to look at the pitch. That's a chamber reverb with 2 adjustable pitch shifters. One is up and one is down. You can do a detuned kind of sound, fourths, fifths, and octaves, both up and down. I'm going to go ahead and turn the mix up on that. That's full wet. Just so you can hear it a little bit better. And for this, right now the down is a detune. Now it's a down a fourth. All right, now let's hear just that upper. And I believe that's going to go down to detune. Let's see, fourths. Fifths. And octave up. I like the sound of the fourth, so let's go with that. And let's do down a fourth as well. So obviously you can get a lot of different kinds of sounds. I think it's really cool that they have the twin adjustable pitch shifters, because then you can create kind of like chordal weird things. It's beautiful. Next, it's called the Tremverb. This is a spring reverb with a tube bias type tremolo. The tremolo is after the reverb, so you can hear it drip. Let's go ahead and turn up the mix again. This also has a ping. And ping is the spring reverb drip. Let's crank that because nice. Turn the mix down just a bit, actually. All right, there's also tremolo. The depth was all the way down, which is why we couldn't hear it. That was fun. Oh, it's because I actually went to lo-fi. So if you haven't clicked on this knob, it's on the first page. That changes the program. So that's my bad. Let's go back to spring. That sounds more correct. All right, let's turn the rate down, but the depth up. And I changed the reverb, the tremolo type too. I didn't mean to do that. Go back to sine wave. I think for this one, a little depth goes a long way. That was probably more appropriate for not having tremolo. Listen, if you have watched this channel at all, by now you know I love tremolo and I love reverb. So I'm really glad that they chose to do a tremolo as the modulation instead of like a chorus or a flange. Next! Next, it is Bloody V. This is a lo-fi reverb, 90s style electronic reverb with distortion on the trails, a classic shoegaze effect. You can hear that modulation when that is set to sawtooth. It's supposed to kind of emulate like glide guitar, like if you had a whammy bar and we're playing it. I'm not sold on that shape being like the right kind of sound for like a glide guitar. Ooh. Some adjustments. That's really cool. I really wish I was playing into a dirtier amp, but I love that the distortion's on the trails. That really makes it feel more shoegazy to me. All right, next we have Analog. It's an electronic reverb based on an obsolete analog delay chip often found in karaoke units. So it's got a very special flavor. It says keep the time knob low for reverb or increase for cascading delay effects. Turn up the mix. So this is definitely a reverb sound. Time is low there. There's also repeats, which is the repeats. I'm just enjoying listening to that one. Why not? I like this one a lot. Honestly, this one's one of my favorites. It's very unique sounding to me. My favorite kind of normal one so far is the spring. I like the lo-fi and the analog a lot. Pitch is not really the kind of thing I would use a lot, but I'm glad it's there. This one's called Slow Fade, and it's part of the dynamic algorithm, which actually has 3 modes. There's a gate mode that cuts off the reverb like an 80s drum. I love a good gated reverb. I do prefer it on drums to guitar, but it's a cool flavor to have nonetheless. Bloom will fade in just the reverb signal, and Swell fades in both wet and dry for a more intense effect. Right now it's on Swell. That's just really, really cool. I think the mix was probably already high on that. So I was just adjusting size there. That is the reverb decay time. So you can adjust that for faster or longer lasting swells. But let's go ahead and go, I believe it's page 3 that has the type. Yeah, there it is. So gate, let's go ahead and try this one out. So there's a tack on page 2, I believe, and that would control the gate sensitivity. There's also release there. So fast, slow, fast. All right. The other type is bloom, which only feeds in the reverb. So yeah, just like it says, swell is more intense. I think the bloom might be a little bit more usable in a lot of scenarios, but still a great effect all around. Last but not least, we have frozen, which is an Echoverb, room, reverb, and delay in parallel. Each effect has its own set of controls and is independent of the other, which is really cool. So the reverb decay time is what would be controlled by the hold. It's like, I love the way that hold works because it's not just like, you can long press it and it'll just go up and it'll stay there. You don't have to keep pressed down on it. So we have the reverb size, tone, mix, as always. Page 2, we have repeats. We have DTIM as delay time control. So what's cool is the delay is, and like it says, it's independent of the reverb. So even when you're holding that reverb out, you can play the delay. What can I say? That's just a really good reverb and slash delay. I don't usually get to play pedals that have hold features, or I don't usually use them, I should say. I have plenty of pedals that have hold, but I just don't use them. That one I actually might use. I really, really like that. It fills out the sound a lot, especially with some of that finger style jazzy stuff I do for like open houses. Well, thank you again to Mass Distro and Alexander for sending me this to check out, to demo. I hope you really liked the demo. If you did, please consider liking, commenting, subscribing. We also have a Patreon at patreon.com/getoffset. That gives you access to our exclusive Discord server. Lovely stuff there, full of great people. One of my personal favorite places on the internet. I also have merch at getoffsetpodcast.com/shop, including a shirt with my dumb face on it. I think there's now maybe like 10 out there in the world. That blows my mind. So if you want to continue to confuse my parents, buy that shirt. Well, to everybody out there, thanks for watching. Thanks for understanding. I'm so glad you're here, even if it's really hard to be here sometimes. What can I say? I love you. Until next time, my name is Emily. Goodbye.